Hello there, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I'm going to be speaking with you today on, this is actually taken from one of the oldest articles on our website. I probably wrote this article probably 23, 24 years ago, and it's about the concept of deja vu. So that the title of the video is Your Love Life is Deja Vu from Your Childhood All Over Again. Yogi Berra, the catcher for the Yankees, once had a famous saying. He said it was deja vu all over again. He sort of defined it and said it over, and it was sort of funny that way. He was a funny guy. Deja vu, the Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary defines deja vu as something that's already been seen, or as something overly and unpleasantly familiar. That's that's what love is, friends. Unfortunately, wish it weren't so, but it's so. So that's exactly what we discover when we put the pieces of a person's family background together. We study their family trees as part of our assessment process at Family Tree Counseling. And I'm telling you, it's spooky how whatever issues happen in one generation, they happen all over again in the next generation. The spookiest one I had was many, many, many years ago, over 25, about 24 probably. I had a woman come in, and she grew up with a real controlling father, and he would tape her telephone conversations. This is back before cell phones. As a teenager, he would tape her telephone conversations as a way of controlling her. So she actually grew up to be pretty controlling herself and pretty counter-dependent. And she married a passive fellow. But about 2 years into the marriage, she was up in the attic and she saw this funny little box. This passive fellow was taping her telephone conversations the way her father used to. And I'm telling you, I've got many stories like that where strange occurrences or ways of being in a family that I haven't ever heard of in any other assessment happen from generation to generation to generation. In explaining this somewhat irrational, seemingly irrational phenomenon, Hemfeld, Minerath, and Meyer wrote, "We all possess a primal need to recreate the familiar, the original family situation, even if the familiar, the situation, is both destructive and painful. Recovery is about finishing our business with the previous generation, and many times that's painful business, so that their deep influence within us doesn't continue to haunt us by causing unhealthy, addictive relationships and behavior throughout your adult life." So this process of realization, of discovering the true roots of your problems, of experiencing really deep and powerful insights into yourself and into your family of origin, is basically it's having a paradigm shift, having an ideological shift away from seeing oneself as a victim and moving to a position of self-responsibility and recovery. I'm making 5 videos today, and all of them sort of have the same theme. And to me, it's the most important theme there is, and that is, you are not a victim. That concept is amazingly freeing. It's amazingly true. And It'll change how you see the world. When people feel their pain in therapy, which is important, we really try to shift them out of victim thinking into thinking that is healthy and about themselves. We're all 100% responsible for the condition of our own lives. I tell people through the years that, I only really know one thing, and I've only really got one skill, but I've been booked since 1989 as a counselor, and now I've got 10 therapists working for me. And the thing I know is you married your childhood. You've reenacted your childhood drama all over again, and that you have not ever once been victimized by your spouse. And that's a startling revelation for many of the people that I work with, but it is the truth. And then I tell people the skill I have is about 80% of the time, with about 80% of the clients that I work with, I'm able to help them have that paradigm shift where they shift out of victim mentality into recovery, just with my ability to persuade people. And I tell people I can use a scalpel or I can go out back and get the jackhammer, whatever it takes, because shifting out of a victim mentality, it'll change your life. We liken victim pain to a swamp. Can you picture a swamp with alligators and mosquitoes, and it's hot, and there's algae everywhere, and it just stinks? There's no moving water. There's no positive forward movement. So that's victim thinking. And what we're looking for is your pain to flow through you like tears. And it's sort of like a bubbling brook, like you'd see in a refreshing Coors Light commercial. They used to have this beautiful stream that Peter Coors would stand in front of and talk about beer. But it was just gorgeous, clean, fresh, coming down from the Rocky Mountains. That's how you want your pain flowing through you, to be pure and to be freely moving. And as you heal one childhood issue after another, then that is what changes people's lives. So many times if I feel like I've been victimized, and everybody feels that way, it's the human condition. You're going to occasionally feel reactive. You're going to feel victim-y. You're going to be tempted to triangle. But if I catch myself feeling victimized, I go and stand in front of a mirror and I ask myself, pal, what'd you do to create this situation for yourself? Because nobody can victimize you without your full cooperation and consent. So many times somebody comes in and they're pointing the finger at their spouse and they're saying, you were nice when I married you, and you said you were going to love me, and you've done a really bad job of it. You've cheated, you've worked too much, you drank too much, you haven't loved me well. And then I point out to them, of all the people on the planet for you to have married, this person here in front of me that you've identified as lacking intimacy skills, lacking communication skills, lacking sensitivity, lacking the ability to empathize, lacking kindness, lacking depth. That's who you picked. Of all the men on the planet to put solely in charge of loving you, you picked that guy. And you say, well, Well, he wasn't like that when I married him. Well, he was. But when we fall in love, we become enmeshed and we lose our minds. We over-idealize that person. Plus, when we're in love, even a really disconnected person with very little emotional depth or skill can be Shakespeare. They can become very romantic and very deep seeming, but that's just during that enmeshment dispensation. Once that's over, and it tends to, as a young person, you tend to drift out of that slowly over about a 7-year period. Once that's over, you find out who you really got. And in midlife, you don't get the 7 years. You're lucky to get 2 or a year and a half or 1. Some people get about a week and a half before the truth is being told about who they're dating. So the awareness that you've never been victimized, it's vitally important. It's my number one message. It's my number one message. You married your mom and daddy, and your spouse is neither here nor there in the conversation. You just handed them a script and said, hey, Joe, can you act like my dad? And he says, you know what? I don't need to act. So this awareness truly is life-changing. And the wonderful thing is, if life is not fair, and if you can marry somebody healthy and they can turn into Charles Manson, they can turn into Jack the Ripper, then the world truly is a scary place and an unsafe place and an unfair place. But if I'm in charge of my life and I'm responsible for my life, that's good news, because I can do something about that. I can work on getting healthier. I can set healthy boundaries with consequences. I can date slowly. I can vet people. If you buy $1 million company, you spend a lot of time vetting that company, or a $20 million company, and you find out what's in their books, their history, what skeletons are in the closet. You want to know everything there is to know, but we fall in love and we don't vet people very well. We don't find out what's in the closet. And I'm not saying we picked the wrong person. We picked the right person. It's just what makes them right is they're excellent at hurting us. That's actually what makes them the right person. So the fact that I'm in control and no one has the power to victimize me, and if I do feel victimized by somebody, I look at that person as my teacher. And I have really strong feelings of gratitude toward the people that hurt me the most, because they're also the people who've taught me the most. So, deja vu all over again. That's what love is. Love is deja vu. It's a French term. Deja vu all over again. That's what love is. That's romantic love. And you can be assured you married the right person. You've fallen in love with the right person. And the question to ask is, what is there for me to learn? This person is my teacher, and what is there for me to learn? And if you do that, you're a wise person, and you're going to learn a great deal, and you're going to get healthier and happier. So if you haven't joined our channel, we have 997 subscribers. Hopefully we'll have 1,000 by the end of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Also want to encourage you to come to our website, familytreecounseling.com, where I have 6 ebooks on abandonment issues, on shame, on affair recovery, on counterdependency, on the basics of recovery, and on marital issues, all available for download. So thank you for watching today, and God bless.